what experiences are kind of most critical to put on your resume?
You're qualified to do something, however that comes. Why ask for permission?
And so like I travel so much that remote is literally like a godsend to me.
Recruiting-ish. Web3. World-class podcast. Let's get it, let's go. The topics of discussion you cannot get from another. Opportunities in Web3, we got you covered. Metaintro, been dope. Gotta thank you for the love and support that you give it. Keep it coming. We going up in jet speeds, interviews with the crews, making moves, let's see. It's a brand new world of NFTs. Join in Recruiting-ish podcast, yes please. Join in Recruiting-ish podcast, yes please. Metaintro does not give financial advice. Information provided by Metaintro is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. Always do your own research on the companies that you apply to and the opportunities that you invest in.
Welcome everybody back to the Recruiting-ish podcast. I'm Alex. I'm here with Nick and Lacey from the Metaintro team. If you're seeing this, you might be seeing this in a couple different places. We're trying out a new format where we're both recording the podcast, which will go to all major platforms on Monday the 6th. So if you missed this, don't worry, the recording will be live, both video and audio, so you can check that out. But if you're live with us, it looks like we're live across possibly YouTube and LinkedIn. So, feel free to comment, engage with us. We're doing a similar format to last week where we're fielding questions, looking to hear what's going on in the market with hiring, your hurdles, and we've got a few recordings to listen to and give some advice and comment on.
I'm excited. It's a fun new format, switching it up, trying some new things.
And for anyone wondering where we source these questions from, there's an exclusive kind of back room in Discord where we're sourcing everything from to begin with. So that's kind of if you want the extra tea, kind of before we do it live on the pod, that's where everything's going down first.
Before we dive in, I wanted to talk a little bit about something about another podcast I was listening to yesterday. Do you guys listen to CoinDesk's podcast? Not CoinDesk, CoinMarketCap.
I do.
Did you listen to yesterday's podcast?
I don't listen to that.
Yesterday, CoinMarketCap. I've been so about listening to their daily pods because they have some really good information. And the format is wonderful. But yesterday they were covering hiring, and they were talking about the layoffs this past month compared to December. And they said that across the big tech companies, especially in Web3, this past month alone in January, there were over 46,000 people laid off compared to the month before, which was, I think they said like 106 or 107,000 people. Isn't that crazy?
What could have caused like such a spike, right?
Yeah. And this morning I was also reading through my daily dose of the Milk Road. Do you guys read that?
Yes, that's right.
You don't read the Milk Road, Alex?
I don't. You're gonna have to forward me that.
It was started up by the My First Millionaire guys, right? And then they had it
was on Beehive.
They had an event.
Yeah, so on Beehive, which is a newsletter platform from the guys, ex-Morning Brew guys, and grew super fast, all about crypto, kind of like the Skim vibe, but crypto degen version, scaled super quickly and sold. And I think it was Beehive's like biggest success story. But Milk Road is great if you want like crypto news fed to you in a way that doesn't feel like CNBC like structured, or Bloomberg crypto like very structured. And they cover other things that happen in this space aside from just like the headlines that you see. So they'll dive into like super specific things. Like this morning I was reading, and did you know, of course, that this would happen, that there's some producers that are trying to pick up. Let me find it. Hold on one sec. Marky Mark, our favorite, his production company is going to develop a documentary exploring the FTX fiasco and CZ.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the reason I was bringing this up is because
that's going to be a cool one.
Yeah, that's going to be good. And I'm waiting for. I loved Hulu's The Dropout. I loved the Uber scripted short. What was it? It was like a
We
uh, yeah. We Crash was
Super
also
pumped.
really good. Super Pump. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. So of course there's going to be an SBF version of that at some point, but it's amazing that like Mark Wahlberg is getting to the documentary version of it first. But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because the headline underneath that, on the opposite side of talking about all of the layoffs over the past month, 46,000, that's a ton of people being laid off. Um, Amazon is hiring. AWS is hiring specialists for their Web3 go-to-market team, and they're trying to grow out their Web3 clientele. And so, of course, in a bear market, and after Amazon's layoffs, they're looking towards Web3. So despite the layoffs, there's a ton of jobs that are still being posted. There's a ton of big companies trying to figure out like what their go-to-market strategy within Web3 is. So if you're listening to this, there's still a ton of opportunities out there for you.
It's especially notable that it's not like Amazon just kind of ported their existing staff over to the Web3 wing of the company, right? Like this is all new blood. So it's not, everyone's kind of starting from like a similar level as well.
Yeah, I think also what we're seeing is Amazon notices that there's a massive candidate pool of super talented individuals that want to work for big tech companies. So they're probably looking at the market saying it's an employer's market right now, which it is, and how can we acquire talent in a cost-effective way?
I think it's a good move. I mean, I think I was doing that as that was going on. I was like, wait a second. So subscribing to that, and we'll follow up on the next one with what I learned. But yeah, I mean, Amazon, I think everybody's looking at it, right? I mean, like, I don't think there's any technology company, legacy brand that's not looking at Web3 or crypto digital assets as, a new venture for them. And I mean, with Amazon, there's a lot of stuff that they can do. Both from a product perspective and a customer perspective. So, their partnerships with Ava Labs, now that they're launching maybe some internal products themselves, there's a ton of opportunity. So, I mean, it's sad that they didn't take some of the, Web 2 Amazon folks and maybe port them to the Web 3 side versus just going external. But, again, if you're external talent, it's a good opportunity to get in with a good company that looks to be kind of doubling down on this initiative. So more to come on what Amazon produces.
Yeah, there's a ton of interesting companies that are hiring in this space right now. Like I saw Legos was hiring, Crocs is hiring. Who else did I see recently that was hiring that was interesting? Nike has a massive Web3 studio that I feel like they're always staffing up for it, even if it's not just developers. They hire like non-technical talent too. They've been consistently hiring. The Walt Disney Company was doing a big hiring sprint for the Web3 space. So the only one that I have not seen yet,
Porsche.
which I would love to see, yes, Porsche too, Starbucks. I've not seen Starbucks any job listings for Starbucks for their Web3 positions. Maybe they're doing that internally.
I was just about to say, it sounds like if they whatever agenda they're working off of, it's probably just like so tight at the moment. They know, like, they have everyone in place already. I would imagine. I guess so, right? I mean, that's interesting. It's not like it's not a small endeavor. It's not just like, this is like a massive reward system that they're overhauling. So it's not like there's like it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely massive. How many customers does Starbucks have? And they're bringing that massive wave of individuals, introducing them to blockchain technology through the reward system and on Polygon. So this is like massive. And yet not one job posting that I've seen. And that's also coming from somebody who looks at jobs all day. So maybe it's out there. Maybe it's an internal hiring, or maybe they're using a third-party recruiter and hiring in stealth.
I think it's always like a big story, like a leak when Apple is like hiring someone in VR or something, right? And that's like a story for like a whole week. So it's, like even they're leaking this type of stuff, and Starbucks being so I haven't heard anything either, right? Like it's, you're like on the front lines seeing no listings, and it's not like we're hearing anything either. It's, I don't know. It'll be interesting once this all unfolds though.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's probably some stealth hiring, as well as I think what's or what I've seen a lot of being built is by like these third party almost agencies that are taking on like large portions of building these Web3 initiatives where, you know, they're probably paying a lot of money, but they're not having to hire so much talent. So I think, you know, we'll see maybe some of that just immediately come to market, and we're wondering who built it, where did it come from, and we may never know, but we'll see.
All right. Well, without further ado, should we dive into the questions that we got this week?
About the resume, but the most important thing is most jobs application looks like for expert alone. So if you got a skill and you have no much experience, how do you fit in? How do you try to navigate through and feel, oh, I can do this even though you haven't have the required experience in the application?
I believe what he was applying for different types of roles, right? And so he was trying to see what experiences are kind of most critical to put on your resume. If I believe his unique situation though was that he had like different kind of categories of roles that he was applying to, right? So he wasn't sure what to put on if he wanted to like split up his resumes or like how to kind of divvy things up on the actual resume.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're applying to different roles or, you know, different sectors of jobs, have a few different copies, right? Like if it's a sales role, have a resume that's focusing on your sales activity and some of your metrics for success, maybe some projects. And then if you do marketing or operations, like tailor one a little bit more towards that side. And then as you're applying, feel free to shoot one or the other in. And tailor it, right? Like do some A/B testing with maybe what you're getting better responses with. You know, a resume should be live updated. It should just be like you do it once and then you never change it again.
I wonder if like I feel like some questions that I hear about like resumes, it's almost like people are asking for like a lot of permission on like what they're like allowed to do on a resume, right? Like oh, is it okay to like have two different ones to like send out and whatnot? I don't know. I feel like I guess I appreciate like the level of diligence that they kind of have over the whole thing, but it's such a hindrance at the same time, right? I mean, like it's such a like the resume is like not something to overthink. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll eat those words though, because it's a very critical document, right? But it's also just that such quick initial impression that you know, it's like so subjective, like so many things about it that you know, just like optimize for getting a response out of it, you know, like sometimes that's and like if that means exactly like this what Alex is saying, like tailoring it, having a couple different copies, you know, it's a game sometimes. I hate to say it.
That's a really interesting point that you bring up, the idea of asking for permission for your resume. Never really thought about it that way because I totally agree. What a bizarre but like very true thing. Why do we ask for permission to put things in our resume? I understand like by putting this in my resume, will this increase the likelihood that a recruiter responds back to me, that I land an interview? You know, will this move me to the next stage? Versus, is it okay to put this in? Is it okay to add an avatar? Is it okay to add some color to my resume? Is it okay to mention that I'm in Web 2, but I want to make the career transition into Web 3? I think that attitude towards it needs to be shifted. We can do whatever we want. It's Web 3. There's no guardrails. You want to add color to your resume, add color. If you want to have a different type of resume, like a Notion document that's live updated, do it. There's no, as long as you can clearly communicate, hey, I have the skills to be able to do X job, and I'm the perfect candidate for this job opportunity. I don't think we should put ourselves in a box. That sounds so millennial as I'm saying that out loud. I recognize that. This whole week, I'm like, the things that I'm saying sound so millennial. But it's true.
At least I'm not sounding Gen Z.
Oh my gosh. Quick sidebar. I was on a Twitter Spaces 2 nights ago, and we were talking about the idea of influencers helping scale Web3 companies. And our influencers looked at as revenue generating sources or marketing sources. And the first thing I want to talk about is the Michaela drama on TikTok with the mascara. See?
Oh, Jeffree Star.
Jeffree, yes. So you did see it.
Oh yeah, I'm
And
deep in this for some reason.
the entire room, and it was all guys, and probably, and I, maybe guys in like their 30s and 40s, and I like as it's coming out of my mouth, I was like, wow, that was so millennial of me to like bring this up in a room that like nobody has any idea what I'm talking about. They're like, who invited her? Anyways,
good.
I digress.
Talk about a niche. I'm like, I should. There's
You're
no
in
reason
it.
for me really to like. Yeah.
The Jeffree Star, that was intense.
Yeah. No, I mean, Jeffree Star is such a genius, right? But like apparently the gravity of this whole thing was like he came out of hiding for this, right? Like to put Michaela on blast. Like the severity of this whole thing was like big.
Yes. I mean, he was back. He was like, I am here. And the best part about it, because I'm in it, I love Michaela, I'm a big fan. And none of this has to do with crypto or hiring. So sorry, guys, if you're watching.
It's industry news.
Just stick with me. The best part about all of it, after everything happened, Michaela drops her next 3 videos, which is promoting like a V-Day like palette collection. And she starts her first video after 6 days of not posting. And she goes, so I know why all of you are here for this Valentine's Day collection. And she just like goes into her makeup. It was so good. And all of the comments were like, all of the comments were like, the hook, the hook, what you were doing to get us to watch this video. And like, good for you for like
so good.
Not apologizing. But this all comes back to not apologizing for, you're qualified to do something. However that comes, why ask for permission, right? This is me trying to put it back to each other, back to the conversation.
I mean, look, I'm gonna like rope it back even more though, because it reminds me of, so first of all, like Michaela was unapologetic, right? Like that's like the key feature here is that like she did not care, did what she wanted to do, and it worked for her, right? Like it garnered the views, it like got her the headlines and whatnot. Similar type of like influencer marketing vibe was, I remember like years ago, we were just talking about Gary Vee right before the show here, and I recall somebody they used like a Kendrick Lamar song, and they changed up all the words to like talk about Gary Vee and like how much he wanted a job from him.
Nice.
Got hired instantly, right? Like that video went all over Twitter, and it was just like a very easy hire on Gary Vee's perspective, right? So like next time you're thinking about like if you're allowed to do anything, just like what's going to get you the W, right? I mean, I don't think Tom Brady is on the football field saying like, oh, am I allowed to? Well, I guess they do have like penalties. All right, forget that analogy. But just get the W.
That's so great. What a great conversation.
Yeah.
All right. Alex.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, to both your points, right? Like the resume is one part of a ton of ways to get a job, right? Like even if you have a perfect resume, it doesn't mean you're going to get the job. You still got to do all the other stuff, right? Like you said, you got to make it your own. You got to do good interviews. You got to connect and network with people. Like don't let the resume be the sole thing you focus on, right? It should be part of it, but it's a snapshot. It's not your whole, approach. So find creative ways, network, connect with people. I mean, try out different stuff. And again, don't solely focus on the resume because that is by no means the only thing that's going to get you into the door.
I think I'm kind of just like thinking a little tactically about the whole thing as well. I feel like, because we kind of think it back to why we might ask permission on these things. It's not like it's not like Mad Men, right? Like we're not like in the 50s. It's not like we have like these super strict like structures in every type of company, especially like in Web3, things are like very different. And because I think what they might be getting at, like when they say, if somebody asks, can I put this there or whatever, because they think it's like a structured kind of going through a scanner, right? Like everything has to be like super, super standardized. And if you're even like a little bit off that standard, you're going to get like tossed out immediately. I feel like those days are pretty behind us, right? I mean, like, sure, maybe like back in the day, like if you didn't have like 12-point font or something like that, then like you were just considered like not, you were kind of out of it already. I don't know if that thought process is just like still lingering. Maybe I'm like a little antiquated, even thinking that could be an issue to this day. But I don't know. I just kind of had to get that out there. Like it's not there's not like some big grand kind of process that you're missing out on.
Yeah. Alex, I'm curious what ratio of crazy eccentric resumes do you see on a week to week basis versus the standardized resume?
I mean, it's probably 1%, if not less, that are outlandish different. I mean, I'd say 99%, if not more, are kind of the standard template, maybe some different fonts or different spacing, but like I feel like everybody's got, a pretty similar. And also like I also sometimes see the outlandish ones and it catches my attention, but still the content isn't what I'm looking for. So, you might be applying for one of my jobs and you've got a cool resume, but it's still not the experience I'm looking for. So it still may not even get past that. So yeah, I mean, it's something you see, but the company I work for, it's not like a Spotify where like I've seen a ton of like want to work at Spotify, want to work at TikToks. So it may be different if you're a recruiter at one of these more kind of brand focused companies versus mine, which is in traditional finance, and more people are leaning towards the old school versus this like new school tactic.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, I was just thinking like the context of the company you work for probably dictates the type of resumes that you see. Because for me, my answer is the complete opposite. I see like 80% of eccentric resumes. There's avatars, there's photos, there's 50 ways to sunset of these resumes. And the ones that I see that are traditional are generally individuals that are going for traditional companies in a way, like the venture resumes, the ones that want to get into investing or finance or security, legal. Those are traditionally just like your standard resume, jam packed with like data, information, great content. And then the more like creative or developer or Web3 companies, that's where you start to see people go, I'm going to throw hot pink on my resume and it's going to look great and I'm going to make it work. So just curious to see the difference from recruiter to recruiter.
I mean, hot pink, it's Elle Woods scented her application to Harvard.
Yes.
Right? And that got her in.
Nick, so much information, man. The parallels you're tying really and the metaphors.
Wow.
I'm loving this.
On to the next question.
All right, here we go here.
My name is Dmitry. Regarding my work experience, I worked for local trade CEX in the field of qualified technical support for more than 2 years. For now, I'm looking for a job as a head of customer support. I was looking for vacancies exclusively with remote access to work, but most of all offers on the market are only available with full-time and office work. Furthermore, due to the beer market, the number of job openings is extremely low. Also, the requirements are simply cosmic. Even with a great team lead experience at my previous job, many pay attention to the number of years worked, mostly from 3-4 years. What tools could advise me to find a suitable job in Web3?
Okay.
So, digesting that question. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, just like the one thing that stuck out was it looked like they were looking for like part-time versus full-time, and that was just I was kind of just given immediate takeaways. But what else you got, Lacey?
Yeah, and the lack of jobs in the market and the bar to entry for those jobs. Those are the other two takeaways.
So we mentioned, there. So okay, so we got amount of jobs. We've got that's right. It was remote versus on-site. It sounded like a lot of them were full-time on-site, which was interesting. Or that's maybe like the choices that he was looking at. I mean, there's a couple of different things for us to speak on here. Remote is like totally dominating just from immediately what off the top of my head. I don't even think I see too many organizations that are like requiring on-site, at least like startups and stuff like that I'm seeing.
Do you miss being in person? Either of you?
I certainly do.
From time to time.
Alex is like,
I mean, I enjoy
no
being remote.
way.
I mean, like right now, I'm in Ohio
In the
right
middle of
now,
the
so
flyover
like
state.
that's what I mean. So like I travel so much that remote is literally like a godsend to me. But I go to events and stuff and still do some on site, so it balances it out. I don't think though I could go 5 days a week every week. It's so far from that from my perspective.
Yeah, I guess you said it perfectly. Like from time to time, right? I guess everyone has, there's it's especially. I mean, if you're hiring for like salespeople and stuff like that right now, from what I gather, any type of sales team is usually like come on site for 2 weeks. We at least ramp you up, and then you can kind of go back and be remote. That's a system that makes perfect sense, right? Because it is really like from time to time. At some point, it's nice to like be near everybody, but then if everyone's like dialed in and whatnot, then we could just be just as distracting. You know what I mean? So like people are fuel, but they could also suck all the energy out of us at the same time. So it really goes both ways.
Yeah. I'm starting to miss the IRL interaction, but I also wonder, like, I couldn't go back into an office 5 days a week. I love being at home. I love being with my dogs. I travel a lot. Um, but the energy that you have, even if it's like sprints, if we did sprints, where we're together for a full week, we have a clear goal, and then we do that once every 6 weeks, once every 8 weeks, just to bring the team back to center to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Um, but that doesn't work for every organization, and so just just a question. If you guys were missing that IRL interaction, but for the most part, I don't see companies that are hiring for in-office jobs anymore, unless they're like super early stage startups or large companies. That in between accounts for a lot.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean I think to the question that he had, check them all out. I think right now in the market, right, like you might have to be flexible with some part of it. During the bull market, you could literally say, I want to be remote. I want $1 million. I want this, that, and the other. And companies would give it to you because the market was so competitive. It's still competitive, but I think it is now an employer's market where they're being less flexible with some of that stuff, right? So like if you are interested in a company and you truly value it, maybe a couple days a month is worth it, right? Like be open to some of those ideas, but flexible, right? Like apply, see what you find, ask questions during the interview process, and like if it's something you want to do, then move forward. But yeah, it is tough. It's hard to find out all that information just from a job posting.
What was the other part of his question?
There was, I guess, the volume, just not a lot.
Yeah, well, we are in a bear market.
And it's still a numbers game. I mean, I think that's like a huge, just like pump your output. That's all we can really control anyway.
All right. Next question.
Should I bring us to the next question here? Yeah, let's do it.
Well, yes, but I'm also known as DC. I'm very happy that you guys are having this right now. Greatly appreciate it. One of my questions is, so I have mod experience, and I just want to know how can I, because now I would want to transition from mod to maybe into community management. Because on top of the mod experience, I do have some marketing experience in Web3, as well as mostly Web2. That's what I do in my Web2 job, but some a little bit in Web3. So how do I move from being a community moderator to going into community management and selling that, like if I want to apply for a community management position?
The ultimate lateral move, right? Going from community mod to marketing in Web3.
Yeah, for me, with this question, it also sounded like she wants to move up in her career from moderation to a management role where maybe she has more responsibilities, maybe she's doing more, she's looking for that pay raise, she's looking to upskill, how do I make that upwards transition? And I don't know. I haven't seen her resume, so I don't know if she has like previous management experience. But to me, that sounds like the fundamental question of what we just heard is how do I grow? How do I grow my career from moderating?
Yeah, what I heard was similar. Like, how do I grow? What do I need to do? I think there's a couple of different things, right? I think, if you're already interested, there might be opportunities or projects that you can jump on, volunteer yourself. Say, hey, I'm interested in this to, your company, your project you're working with, to try to get some of that on the job experience while you're in your current role. You can ask to do that, right? That's one way. Or you can kind of tell that that's what you want to do, right? You could be very prescriptive with, I want to move into community management in the next 3 months. What do I need to do? How do I get there? Right? Like being very decisive, I think are two good ways. As well as, some of that, if you can't get that internally where you're currently at, there's a ton of projects where it may be, volunteer work that you might be able to still upskill and get some of that community management experience that then you could leverage or turn into other opportunities. So just a couple different things I would think of and maybe try as you look to get to that next step.
I mean, there's always like there's always like a specific narrative that we can tell with our experience, right? And so I think there's surely some management has had to have been going on somewhere, right? Like highlighting certain things in like such an order with like previous experiences, putting them in a way. I mean, I've literally been given this feedback on my resume in the past, right? It's like people look at it and they're like, Nick, what the heck is going on here? It looks like a circus threw up on a piece of paper. And it's, very proud of my experience and whatnot, right? But if it doesn't tell a story that's oh my God, yes, that's exactly what I need for this. And like everything matches up, lines up really nicely. So like on the other side of having just like a totally scrambled resume, you can have like a really, really, really direct one. And like even 2 jobs with like some achievements that were done within there and like how you kind of elevated, even like working with other people, like highlight those types of things. Because the manager type role is going to be something that, they're going to want to see that you've done kind of a gambit of different things and stuff like that. So yeah, I would just say like tell a cohesive story is probably my greatest feedback that came from more experience than I wish it did.
Yeah. In the bio, on top, say, I'm looking for a management role. I'm looking to grow into management. And then in your skills section, list management. Those are my 2 tidbits for this resume.
Oprah said, you get in life what you have the courage to ask for. So just ask for it. That's good.
Did you just quote Oprah on a crypto podcast?
Look, it's a good quote.
It is what it is. All right.
Somebody else said live, laugh, love.
Today.
I don't know if that was Oprah.
Oh my God. Make it stop. All right.
Definitely some good questions, though. We're looking forward to more.
Yep. Yeah. So if you are interested in having your questions on this podcast, there are 2 ways to do it. First is to DM us on Discord. There's a channel that says Recruiting-ish. All the information on how to submit your questions is in there. Second way, which I guess will be our thing going forward, is doing stages. So we'll do stages once a week, TBD on the date, but make sure to check out the event calendar in our Discord. We'll give you the opportunity to be able to come up on stage, ask your question, we'll record it, and we'll answer it on the podcast. Oh, I guess in third way, find us on Twitter, any of us, and just DM us and not like a link to the audio.
Or email me, nick@metaintro.com. You got literally every single line of communication ready for you here, so no excuses.
All right, Alex, do you want to wrap us out?
No fire round?
And again, apologize.
I didn't come ready with a fire round. Did we like that last week?
With the delay.
I know.
That's a good
We'll
point.
work on
The,
it.
the delay will make it a little weird. And I'll tell you, I think listening back to our podcasts, which I do from time to time because they're amazing episodes, everyone go give them another listen. There's some Easter eggs. But I realized that I don't think we played it right the first time. I was given like one word replies. I don't think, I think Lacey wanted us to like expound a little bit more on the topic, and looking back at it, I'm like, oh my god, Nick, come on, like you're missing the point here. So
Yeah. The idea from that was actually came from, do you follow BFFs? Barstool's BFFs? No. Again, well, I'm a millennial.
I've seen it.
With Dave Portnoy, no? And Josh
yeah,
Richardson.
I've seen it briefly,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, well, they do a Smash, Marry, Kill, but pop culture edition. And like, I was like, oh, we should have a fire round like that, just crypto edition. That's a little more PC. So next week we'll do it.
We'll optimize for it.
Cool. All right, Alex.
Cool. Well, thank you, Nick and Lacey, and apologize if anybody's got the delay, but we'll figure it out. We're still working through it, but engage with us. Like everybody said, I mean, we're here for you. We want to have you guys give us feedback, ask us questions. We definitely love hearing from you. So appreciate you guys tuning in and looking forward to talking next week.